Hey guys, today I'll show you a horror thriller TV series named Don't Come Home. Spoilers ahead, watch out and take care. The drama begins with a mother, Pim, who is on the run with her daughter, escaping her abusive husband. They seek refuge in her old family home, where Pim shows her daughter, Min, to her childhood bedroom. Her uncle, Phut, stops by with a delivery and chats with Pim briefly. He warns her that it's about to rain and that the old house might lose power. Suddenly, Phut notices the curtains in the house have been drawn open. A flicker of fear crosses his greasy face, but he says nothing more and leaves with his smelly butt. Pim goes back inside and tells her daughter not to play with the curtains, but Min insists she didn't touch them. Feeling wrongly accused, the daughter immediately senses that something is off about this place. That night, she even sees something off. Pim, however, thinks she's just afraid of the dark. Although there's a locked room in the house, Pim has no interest in investigating it. During dinner, she asks her daughter if she likes the new house. The terrified girl just stares intently behind Pim, pointing and saying there was someone there. But when Pim turns around, she sees nothing. Suddenly, a ghost flashes into view, causing Min to scream her chicken throat in terror. Pim is bewildered, not understanding why Min is screaming, but to calm her daughter down, she grabs a flashlight and prepares to go to the storage shed where an old diesel generator is kept. However, Min insists on going with her mother. In the shed, Pim is startled by a rat. Fortunately, things go smoothly after that. Pim starts the generator and the power comes back on, but the next second, the generator sputters and dies. Left with no other choice, Pim and her daughter have to make do for the night. The next day, to help Min relax, Pim plays hide-and-seek with her in the house. Pim hides under the bed, waiting for her daughter to find her. Soon, she sees a pair of stinky feet enter the bedroom, walk around, and then leave. Not wanting her daughter to look in the wrong place, Pim quickly crawls out and follows. She is surprised to see her daughter wearing a strange mask and dashing into the study. Pim quickly gives chase. When she turns her head again, the girl has vanished. Pim is momentarily confused, but she doesn't mention it, not wanting to frighten her daughter. In the study, Min finds a photo of her late grandmother. Pim feels a pang of nostalgia, missing her own mother. That night, it starts raining heavily again, and the house is plunged into darkness. In the middle of the night, Min suddenly sits up in bed, breathing rapidly as if she's been terrified. Pim wakes up thinking her daughter had a nightmare, but Min says there was someone sitting at the foot of the bed. When Pim looks, she sees nothing and reassures her daughter it was just a bad dream. The next day, Pim wakes up to see the masked girl from yesterday standing beside her. The girl points out the window. Pim looks and sees that her daughter has opened it. When she looks back, the masked girl is gone again. Not thinking much of it, she decides to take her daughter to the beach for the day. Pim then calls Phut to ask if a little girl is living in the house, but he tells her no. Pim begins to wonder if something is truly wrong with the house. She looks up and realizes her daughter is gone. Fearing she's been swept away by the sea, she panics like a frightened chicken. Fortunately, Min was just playing hide-and-seek again. Back home, her daughter cries, saying she doesn't want to stay there anymore. Pim asks her if she'd rather live with her father. Before she can continue comforting Min, a figure flashes past the door. Pim chases after it and sees it's the masked girl from the morning. She runs up and asks who she is and how she got in. Before she gets an answer, her daughter rushes downstairs. Min stands at the edge of the woods, staring motionlessly ahead as if she's seen something. She then tells her mother she saw a person. Pim starts to worry and warns Min not to enter the forest. She tells her that if she sees any strangers, she should not talk to them but tell her immediately. During dinner that night, Pim suggests that she and her daughter live here permanently, but Min is strongly against the idea. Suddenly, the lights flicker again, and Min sees a ghost behind her mother. Pim quickly picks up her daughter, carries her to bed, and asks what she's so afraid of. Min shows her a paper doll that has been colored black, indicating that this is the ghost she can see. Later that night, after her daughter is asleep, Pim goes to the dining room. Reflecting on the strange events of the past few days, she too has a growing feeling that the place is haunted. But aside from the old house, she has nowhere else to go. They ran away because of her husband's abuse, and before leaving, Pim had even fired a gun at him. Suddenly, Pim is jolted awake by a scream from upstairs. Without a second thought, she rushes up. Min's bedroom door is locked. The girl gets out of bed to open the door for her mother, but comes face to face with a tall ghost. Terrified, she hides in the closet and in the next second vanishes completely. Just then, the bedroom door becomes unlocked. Pim enters but can't find her daughter anywhere. She searches all night to no avail. With no other choice, Pim calls the police, believing that the police are ghost-proof. The next day, a heavily pregnant police officer, Fa, arrives. The first thing she notices are the bruises on Pim's face, which she recognizes as signs of assault. But Pim insists that finding her child is the most important thing and leads her into the room. Officer Fa photographs some items in the house, then sits down to inquire about the details of the disappearance. Her questions are extremely detailed, to the point of making Pim impatient. She asks when Min went missing. Pim says it was at 3 a.m. because the grandfather clock in the house chimed at that exact time. Fa then asks about Min's father. Pim is reluctant to talk about him, only saying that they are separated and haven't been in contact for a long time. Fa asks for a photo of Min, but Pim doesn't have any on her new phone, and since she doesn't use social media, she can't find a single picture. Fa then notices that the clock has stopped, its hands frozen at 3:15. They soon go to the daughter's bedroom, which is in complete disarray. The bed is totally collapsed. Pim tells Fa what happened the previous night, but the officer is clearly skeptical. At this point, 2 male police officers arrive and start photographing the scene. They ask if Min saw any strangers, and Pim mentions that her daughter seemed to see someone in the forest. The group goes to search behind a large tree, but they only find adult footprints. Fa then notices a bloodstain on the hem of Pim's dress and asks how she got it. Pim explains she fell while looking for her daughter there the night before. Fa asks where she came from and where she has been. Pim tells her she had stopped at a gas station. So far, Pim has failed to provide enough evidence to file a formal case, and Fa suspects she is hiding from someone. Phut arrives, but he hadn't seen Min when Pim moved in, so a case still cannot be opened. Fa writes down a phone number and tells Pim to call again once she has evidence. Afterwards, a devastated Pim returns to the house and sits on the stairs. Phut comes over and asks if he can help. Pim asks him why he looked so startled when he glanced at the bedroom window on the day she moved in if he hadn't seen her daughter. Hearing this, Phut says nothing and simply turns and leaves the old house, clearly knowing more than he's letting on. Meanwhile, back at the station, Fa can't shake the feeling that something is wrong. Pim's injuries suggest domestic violence, and her frantic demeanor doesn't seem like a false report. She decides to go out and look for more evidence. Her male partner offers to go with her. They search nearby gas stations and eventually find Pim's car on a security tape. However, Pim had told her daughter to hide in the back seat, so the gas station attendant never saw Min. Next, they go to a convenience store and review surveillance footage from multiple angles. They notice that Pim seems to be actively avoiding the cameras. While reviewing the footage from the store's entrance, they see something strange. The video shows Pim apparently talking to herself. Now both officers are forced to consider the possibility that Pim merely imagined she had a daughter. Back at the station, Fa is unwilling to give up on the case. She soon uncovers a key piece of information. Pim does indeed have a 5-year-old daughter. Connecting this to the bruises on Pim's face, Fa deduces that she was likely fleeing domestic violence, brought her daughter to the old house, and has hidden Min somewhere out of sight. Fa's deductive skills are impressive. She then looks at the photos her partner took that morning and notices the strange old man, Phut. She and her partner go to his small house in the woods and learn some crucial information from him. He was Pim's mother's driver. It turns out 30 years ago, a mad woman broke into the old house. While trying to catch her, Phut was blinded in one eye. The woman later fell from an upper floor and died inside the house, which is why the family moved to the city. He has been taking care of the property ever since, until Pim returned a few days ago. Meanwhile, back at the house, Pim resorts to alcohol to numb her pain, but continues to search for her daughter. In the storage shed, she finds a photo of a girl she has never seen before. Just then, Pim receives a phone call and rushes to the police station, where she finds Phut is also present, though he remains silent. Officer Fa comes out and asks her to step into another room. Pim thinks they've found a lead on her daughter, but the officer first confirms details from the surveillance footage. Unexpectedly, when Pim sees the convenience store footage, she becomes emotional, as if afraid of something. The officer then shows her a photograph. Pim says it's her daughter and asks where they found the picture. This stumps Fa because the photo was obtained from Phut, and it's a picture of Pim as a child. At this point, Fa is once again confused, concluding that Pim must have mental health issues. Suddenly, Pim has an emotional breakdown, accusing the police of treating her like she's crazy and hysterically insisting that her daughter is really missing. Fa then abruptly asks if she has ever hurt her daughter. Hearing this, Pim recalls a memory. Before she left home, she fired a gun. It didn't hit her husband, but struck the cabinet behind him, where her daughter was hiding. It was a close call. The bullet had grazed her daughter's head. Overwhelmed, Pim takes out her phone and calls her husband, demanding to know if he took their daughter, almost hoping it's true. However, he is completely unaware of the situation. Fa takes the phone and asks him for details about their daughter. To her surprise, the man confirms that Min did indeed leave with Pim. This forces Fa to take the case seriously again. She asks for a photo of Min, but what she sees is astounding. Min looks exactly like Pim did as a child. Realizing the girl is truly missing, Officer Fa immediately mobilizes villagers to search the forest, but after a thorough search, they find nothing. The group then finds a small creek that connects to a canal, and the partner takes a team to check the canal. Later, Pim and Fa are alone. Fa praises her for being a good mother, saying that leaving an abusive relationship was the right thing to do, and that not every mother has that kind of courage. It seems Officer Fa has her own unspoken sorrows. Soon, it starts to rain, so Pim invites her back to the old house to wait out the storm. Fa wanders around the house looking for clues. She notices a locked basement door and is about to ask Pim to open it when her partner calls her phone. The phone's light shines on Pim's face, and because of this, neither of them notices the ghost standing right behind her. The partner reports that they found a body, but thankfully, it was just a cow. Pim then fetches some keys to open the door, but finds that none of them fit. So Fa gets a crowbar from her car. After prying the door open, the two head down into the basement, unaware that the ghost is watching them from behind. There are cables running through the area, and they soon discover a large piece of equipment and some blueprints. It seems the generator in the shed was actually meant to power this place. When they flip a switch, the entire basement is illuminated, revealing what look like bloodstains on the floor and a large covered device at the far end. Tearing off the cover, they find a huge chamber with a broken glass front. The next day, the old house is swarming with police officers investigating the basement equipment. An officer finds a circular scorch mark on top of the machine. Upstairs, they lift a carpet and find an identical circular mark on the floor. Incredibly, looking up, they see one on the ceiling as well. In the daughter's bedroom, they find the circular mark is directly beneath the wardrobe, but they don't know how this mark is related to Min's disappearance. Fa instructs her partner to find Min's toothbrush for a DNA test. Suddenly, a car pulls up to the old house. The people inside are investigating, and Pim watches the car. Later that night, the partner and his team come to see Pim, telling her they have searched every inch of the forest without finding any sign of Min, so the search and rescue operation will have to be paused. Late at night, Pim is crying alone in bed when she hears a noise from outside, realizing someone is in the house. She quickly calls Officer Fa, but then thinks it might be her daughter who has returned. She grabs a gun and goes downstairs to investigate. Following the sound to the basement, she hears a voice outside counting numbers as soon as she enters. Pim spins around, slips and falls, seemingly injuring her head, but she ignores the pain and rushes into the hallway where she sees the little masked girl counting down. When the girl sees her, she runs upstairs. Pim chases after her. In her daughter's bedroom, she finds the furniture floating again, and a blue light emanates from the wardrobe. Pim opens the closet door, and the masked girl suddenly lunges out and pulls her in. After a dizzying spell, Pim finds herself in an undamaged chamber with a woman standing outside. This whole story began back in 1991. At the time, Pim was just a teenager. Her mother, Juan, was a scientist. She had planned to take Pim to the beach for the weekend, but the power plant called to inform her of a problem with a generator unit. Juan had no choice but to grab her blueprints and rush to the plant. On site, it was clear they were working on some kind of high-tech project, but the voltage couldn't be stabilized. Juan decided to shut down the entire system for a retest. As she pulled the control lever, the unit spun up at an incredible speed, and the coils on top of the machine suddenly created a disturbance. Juan went to investigate and saw a vortex of energy form above. Then, a high-heeled shoe with a broken heel suddenly fell out of it. That night, back home, Juan was so preoccupied with the day's events that she didn't have time to read her daughter a bedtime story. Fortunately, Pim had a gentle father who read to her until she fell asleep. Late at night, her parents began to argue. Her father accused Juan of being too focused on her work and neglecting their daughter, while Juan blamed him for not being able to support the family. The argument eventually woke Pim up. The next day, Juan still went to the beach with her family, but she was dismissive of Pim's enthusiasm. Her husband told her she could at least pretend to be happy, which angered Juan. She told him to pull over, and she got out of the car. Pim rolled down the window, crying out for her mother not to leave. Suddenly, a large truck crashed into them from behind. Juan was stunned. Her husband and daughter did not survive. Afterwards, she was tormented by grief for a long time and eventually had a mental breakdown. She went to the dam near her workplace. At that moment, the heel of her high-heeled shoe broke. As Juan stood there intending to feel the wind, a spherical vortex of energy appeared below. She kicked her broken shoe into it, and the vortex swallowed the stinky shoe and vanished without a trace. Juan instantly remembered the shoe that had fallen beside her at the plant. She wondered if that machine could be capable of time travel. Juan returned to the house, bought a massive generator, and recreated the time machine in her basement. After countless attempts, she finally managed to summon an electrical arc one night. Juan stepped into the chamber, chanting the date of her daughter's accident, hoping to go back in time. But the equipment suddenly lost power. A devastated Juan came out and began smashing things in a rage, which unexpectedly activated the machine and created a spherical vortex. The vortex then transformed into a tunnel-like shape before collapsing back into a sphere, bringing someone back with it. It's the missing Min. Min and her grandmother had never met, so they didn't recognize each other. Juan took her to her late daughter's bedroom to rest. When Min woke up, she cried out for her mother. Juan could only follow behind her. When Min cried, Juan took her for a bath and gave her new clothes. Soon, the two bonded as if they were a real mother and daughter. They even went to the city to buy clothes for Min. A shop assistant asked Juan how old her daughter was. She was about to explain that she wasn't her mother, but Min stumbled and grabbed Juan's hand, awakening her maternal instincts. She told the clerk that Min was 5. Later, they went to a supermarket and bought the paper doll toy and the mask. At dinner, Min was still fearfully looking behind Juan at the spot where a ghost had once appeared, but now there seemed to be no issue. Suddenly, Min said she wanted to call her mom. Juan took her to use the landline, but of course a number from the future wouldn't connect. Min was about to cry, but Juan said that she missed her daughter too. Late at night, Min wanted Juan to sleep with her. It had been a while since her daughter's death, and this sudden intimacy made Juan a bit uncomfortable. After that, they had a period of happy life together. This continued until her brother Foot asked why the girl's parents hadn't come to pick her up. Juan lied, saying the girl's family was too poor, and essentially claimed Min as her own, telling Foot not to mention the matter again. Back home, Juan packed away all of her late daughter's belongings and played hide-and-seek with Min. But a storybook caught her eye again. Min said she had the same book and asked Juan to read it to her. Min soon fell asleep, but the storybook brought back memories of her own daughter. So she went to the basement and started the time machine again. A spherical vortex formed inside the container, and this time, Juan saw the entire process. As the vortex shot a tunnel upwards, fragments of memories involving both her daughter and Min began to flash throughout the house. And in the future, Pim was also drawn to the closet. At the same time, the future Officer Fa arrived at the old house. No matter how much she knocked, there was no answer. Fearing Pim was in danger, she found a way into the house and called her phone. The ringing came from the upstairs bedroom, which completely baffled Fa. Soon other officers arrived, but after searching all night, they couldn't find Pim. Fa's partner found a box in the bedroom containing a large amount of cash and divorce papers. Fa had her subordinates take it to the station for safekeeping, then spoke with her partner privately. She told him she had heard a child counting during her phone call with Pim the previous night. Her partner wondered if Min had returned. But now both mother and daughter were gone, their car was still there, and the money and belongings were untouched. It was as if Pim had vanished into thin air. A little later, Officer Fa went to the study where she saw some line drawings and found 2 funeral portraits and a photo of Juan. She asked Foot about them and learned that one was Pim's biological father, and the girl was Juan's biological daughter. Meanwhile, Juan was terrified by the sight of her future daughter. Pim was also carrying a gun. She told her daughter to put the gun down and turn around. Juan quickly snatched the gun. Pim cried out for her mother and said her own name, but this only triggered Juan's traumatic memories. Juan fled the basement in fear. From then on, she kept Pim imprisoned in a cage, bringing her food every day. Pim begged to be released, explaining she was there to find her daughter. Hearing this name sent Juan into a panic. She told Pim to shut up and took the gun from the table. She then called Foot and asked him for help. Back at the police station, Officer Fa was organizing all the related clues. She felt something was very wrong with the old house. She went to the archives to look up the case file for the old house from years ago. In the file, she found a murder weapon, the same revolver that Pim had taken into the past. She took the gun to her colleague in forensics, who told her it was a model that only began production in the early 21st century. However, the evidence file was from 1992, which was clearly impossible. In the past, the younger Foot was guarding the basement as per Juan's orders. At this point, Pim didn't recognize him as her uncle, Foot. When he refused to let her go, Pim faked fainting. As Foot opened the cage to check on her, she escaped and started screaming Min's name. But the basement door was also locked, and she only managed to catch a glimpse of Min playing in the hallway. Just then, Foot came to and covered her smelly mouth. Juan told Min to go play with the maid, then opened the door and had Foot take Pim away. Foot drove off, intending to take her far away. During the drive, Pim saw her chance and kicked the gear shift. Fut lost control, swerved violently, and the car flipped over on the side of the road. A short while later, Pim woke up first. She heard a time announcement on the radio and realized she had traveled to 1992. With no time for shock, Pim grabbed the gun and ran back to the old house. By now, Juan was also in a panic. Looking at Min, she felt a sense of unreality. She followed her outside, where Min said she thought someone was behind the big tree. It was Pim, who had just run back. But before Pim could say a word, Fut, who had been chasing her, caught up and knocked her unconscious. He then carried her back to the basement. In the present, a colleague from forensics called Fa with the results of the gun investigation. It was registered in 2006 to Pim's husband. As if confirming a suspicion, Fa drove directly to an old man's house. It was her father's. Fa showed him the old case file and asked who the deceased woman in the photo was. Her father remembered the case vividly, saying she was just a mad woman who tried to kill the homeowner but was killed in self-defense. He didn't know the mad woman's name and nothing could be found about her, but she was holding a gun. The old man then told Fa that a piece of paper with numbers on it was also found on the body. After getting the information, Fa prepared to leave. Her father wanted her to attend her mother's death anniversary, but Fa refused to be with him, as he had been an abusive man when she was young. Back at the station, she continued to add clues to her board. Suddenly, she remembered something. Pim had told her she had a gun. At the same time, in the past, the young Fut was guarding Pim with the handgun, also in a state of panic. Pim woke up and demanded to know why he was locking her up, thinking he wanted to kill her. But he only wanted to take her to the police station, as she was a trespasser with a gun. Realizing this, Pim calmed down and asked if it was 1992. She told him her name was Pim, she was from the future, and she was Juan's daughter. However, he told her that Pim had died with her father last year and showed her a photo. In the present, Officer Fa was also looking at the photo of the father and daughter. She then put Juan's photo on the board and labeled it, trying to connect the two cases. As she looked at the gruesome photo of the deceased, she remembered the paper doll she had found in the old house. The doll's mangled state was identical to the body in the photo. Suddenly, she recalled her father mentioning a note with numbers. Fa quickly found the file. In the past, Pim was still begging Fut to let her go, telling him that the child with Juan was her daughter. But Fut, getting annoyed, nailed the basement door shut and sat on a stool outside. When Juan saw this, she berated him, insisting that Min was her child. Inside the cage, Pim was losing strength, but then she noticed a rock inside and used it to smash the glass. Fut heard the noise from outside and rushed in. Pim grabbed a shard of glass and stabbed him in the left eye. Only then did she realize this man was actually her uncle Fut. But there was no time for that now. She grabbed the gun and ran upstairs to the bedroom where she saw her daughter. Min was startled awake, and at the same moment, Juan burst in and pulled her away. Pim tried to explain that Min was her granddaughter and that she didn't know how she got here, but that they were from the future. However, Juan had clearly lost her sanity, so Pim decisively pulled out the gun. But even after being shot once, Juan still had the strength to fight. She grabbed Pim by the chick throat, repeatedly muttering that Min was her child, and then shoved Pim off the balcony. The chandelier was damaged in the fall, short-circuited, caught fire, and came crashing down on Pim. The clock finally stopped at 3:15. In the present, Officer Fa understood everything. She sat there weeping helplessly. She also found the note with the numbers. It was the same phone number she had given to Pim. A short while later, Pim's husband and other officers arrived. A furious Fa walked up and punched him, then walked away, ignoring everyone's stares. Sometime later, Fa gave birth to a son, did not register the father's name, and blocked the police chief's number. Her partner had been promoted to inspector. He found Fa and told her the DNA test results, which were strange. They showed that Pim and Min were the same person. Fa, however, did not seem surprised. The case was officially closed, but only Fa knew the whole truth. In the past, Juan took Min and moved to the city the very next day. Min, having suffered severe trauma, had memory problems and came to believe that Juan was her biological mother. Before leaving, Juan smashed up the basement and locked it for good, trapping Pim's soul inside the house. This was the ghost that the future Min would see. Juan also gave her a new name, Pim. Pim grew up, and Juan eventually realized the truth. The mad woman from all those years ago was really her daughter. During an interview later in life, the grown-up Pim met her husband, and they soon married. Juan's life was coming to an end. When Pim went to visit her, Juan suddenly grabbed her by the throat, demanding to know who she was. After coming to her senses, she finally understood the terrible mistake she had made. Not long after, Pim became pregnant, but her husband's abusive tendencies began to emerge. As Min grew older, Pim could no longer endure it. She took her child and set off for the old house, thus beginning the cycle all over again. The drama ends here. What starts as a horror movie, then feels like a suspense thriller, ultimately reveals itself to be a science fiction film. The time loop and the self-birthing paradox are reminiscent of similar films like Predestination. However, the director left one plot hole unfilled. Pim's husband had claimed that Min wasn't his child, but the ending never addresses this. This might imply that Pim's pregnancy was immaculate, which in turn could have triggered her already abusive husband's violence, trapping her in an inescapable cycle.